Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. We are going to dive into the world of Salesforce recruitment. What is hot in hiring right now? The skills that truly stand out and how companies can win and keep top talent in such a fast-moving and competitive space. Huge thank you to our guests, Diana and Marketa. Thank you for joining me today, ladies.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
The same. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you. And let's kick it off.
Welcome to NuvoTalks, the podcast to power up your business with Salesforce.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourselves?
Absolutely, I can start. So I'm Diana. I'm part of 10th Revolution Group's leadership team. We help our clients increase their productive capabilities of their IT functions, which includes, but is not limited to Salesforce, by hiring the right talent for them and for their projects.
And on my end, my name is Marketa. I'm working as an HR manager at Nuvolar. We know each other really well. It's been actually more than 5 years. In August, it will be 6 years since I joined Nuvolar. And basically, my role is to support the recruitment team and also anything that is happening behind the scene in the human resources team.
Brilliant. Thank you. So what trends are you both seeing when it comes to Salesforce recruitment today?
So on my end, I would say that we were actually talking about it before coming here, is really curious when maybe like 4 years ago or 5 years ago when we started, when we were proactively hiring people for the Salesforce team, we would always go for kind of generalist role.
Okay.
Always, let's say the requirement was, okay, let's bring a professional that has maybe 4 or 5 years of experience, hands-on experience with Salesforce. Sometimes even we were open to bring someone as an end user of Salesforce. So let's say the focus was really kind of generalist role. But nowadays I can tell that it's no longer the case. And we always look for a concrete niche expertise. So it would be whether, let's say, a marketing cloud expert, with 5 years, but hands-on experience on marketing cloud. So the generalist role, I would say, is no longer the trend, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. I'd say that from my perspective, because I have a view of very different clients. I work with end users, I work with partners. I'd seen that in the past years, one of the trends is, and I'd like to maybe categorize the talent that we find. So there's technical talent, and then there's more functional talent, and of course, leadership roles as well within Salesforce. Yeah. So when it comes to technical talent, I would say that from consultancies or partners, it's very important to have this niche talent that you're talking about. Maybe you're working on a particular project where you're helping with marketing cloud, with field service, with a particular company that's in an industry, and the project requires these very niche skills. Then what I see from end users is definitely they need senior profiles that are also going to help link between the partner and the client's different technical teams. This being architect roles, for example, this being senior developer roles, release managers that help with their implementations or projects within the client, and they also talk to the partner as well.
So are there any certifications that are really trending right now, apart from AI? Because we all know AI is there and we're going to be talking about AI for sure. But are there any certifications that are really, when a company approaches you, Diana, I need to have this talent with this particular certification, and you see it as a trend?
Do you know what? Before even talking about particular certifications, it's great that you bring this up. I think that when we have candidates that have a certification or not have a certification, it's true that it really helps validate both their knowledge and experience. So I work with candidates that have 5, 6, 7 years of experience, which are really senior. However, they do not have certifications. And then I work with maybe a candidate that has 4 or 5 years of experience, but they have a couple of certifications. So just by having the certification, it is true that it is a great validation for the client that is hiring them. So from that perspective, when I'm hiring a developer, I like to see the developer one, the platform developer one certification. That's really good for starters. And then if, for example, you're hiring for a particular expertise, marketing cloud, there's definitely the marketing automation, email specialist. Sorry, marketing automation. I might have said that wrong, but different certifications that are very...
They're always changing as well. Right. They're always changing the name of the certification. So don't worry. I
apologize in advance if I don't say
Next week, that will be a different one.
I know, and they're going to change the name. But I will say that if you are in Marketing Cloud, then it's really important, depending on whether you do more so marketing automation or you're more technical, that you do have some kind of certifications. Is it important to you guys when you hire candidates?
I would say that it really depends on your level of seniority. Because if you are a junior person and maybe you have absolutely nothing to do with ecosystem in Salesforce, and you want to get into the world of Salesforce, maybe the only thing how you can prove that you are really interested is, like running these, right? Like going for a certificate, be part of a community group, to attend different webinars, because you do not have these years of experience to demonstrate. So in this case, I would say it's really important to have at least to show something, right, on your CV. On the other side, we do have also experience that we were interviewing different candidates that they were senior ones. And maybe they had one or two, but they could prove that they have plenty of years of experience. So there it's kind of, you have to balance, right? Maybe it's not really necessary because this person is bringing already a great value to the company. So whether that person has or not a certificate, it's just a detail, so after they can get one. So I would say it really depends on the level of seniority that you have. Whether you can balance years of experience with the other aspect.
I fully agree with that, actually. If you ask me personally, what do I prefer? When you're more senior, I prefer years of experience, and I prefer somebody that in an interview is able to tell me a use case. So for example, if I'm an architect, hey, I helped with this implementation, is able to really explain it, articulate the role, the full implementation or the project, I'd say that I prefer it. I do see that clients feel very relieved and like to have the certification. If you're an architect, oh, look, they have the 4 architect certifications and now they have this one. So I'd say that personal preference, I prefer experience over certifications for senior roles. I do see that clients love that validation of having certifications as well. And I agree with you, Marketa, as well, that it shows that a candidate is very invested in their career, in their learning. Trailhead is great. And then having that certification proves that you're invested in learning and in growing.
Absolutely. And often you can attend these courses as well, and then they would help you get the certification voucher as well. I see this question popping up always, so that's why I wanted to clarify a little bit with you from 2 different perspectives, one from a partner and one from the end client, let's say, how it works, but definitely both are very important. We touched a little bit as well, technical roles versus more consulting roles. What do you think? Which are trending now? There is always, every year, I think it's changing, whether now they're looking for more developers or more consultants with product experience or with project management experience. What do you think?
I believe that, let's say if you have in-house both and you have kind of a combo that you have 2 people, that one would be more functional, the other one technical, and you can actually put both in the same project to kind of, complement each other. That's perfect. But we also do have people in-house that they are actually combo themselves, that they are able to balance on both, which is great,
do you remember the times when developers were developers and they were only just in front of the computer and they were not able to talk to the client? But now you have to have those skills, right? In order.
That's actually a great point. I'd say that now that we see so many advancements in technologies, and now in the moment that we live in ChatGPT, one thing this, one thing that, so much artificial intelligence, I'd say that for those technical profiles, it's really important to also develop their soft skills, because we're moving, the needle's definitely moving towards more, okay, how can you contribute? How are you going to add value? apart or additionally from your technical experience. That's what I'm seeing. So I love to interview, for example, developers or really senior technical profiles that are really good at articulating their experience, that I know that they're going to be great with communicating with other parts of the business, different departments, that they're going to be able to sit with the actual person that's going to use Salesforce and can translate those requirements effectively. So yeah, I think
the business understanding. No, that sometimes if you are at the back scene, you might not really understand where your code is going and what for it would be used, you know. So the hybrid role might be
more trending, right? Like now there are like not just developers or functional roles. I see that as well, because developers, they need to talk to the client now. And even if you have a call with a technical person, from my experience, they have to have those good skills as well. Do you guys at Nuvolar, we do have courses now as well. Do you think other companies as well have courses to sort of help these people to with their communication skills, with their project management skills?
Wow, that's great that you're doing that. I don't see that a lot, and I think it's lacking in the market for candidates, because I do see that some superstars, when it comes to their technical experience, they're absolutely great. They've done some amazing stuff. It's difficult for them to communicate. That's what their weakness is, and they need to work on it. But how do you work on it? Are you thrown into talking to a client and then you make mistakes, and then of course you're going to learn? But I think that's absolutely amazing that you're doing that.
And it takes time as well, like any role or any development, new skill. Exactly. Absolutely. How about when hiring talent? Let's think about a mid-level talent. How long does it take to find the right candidate, in your opinion? Of course, depending on the role and the client, but what is the average when it comes to finding mid-level developer or consultant?
I would say that there are many factors that come into that scenario, right? Like, let me throw, for instance, if you're looking for someone during Christmas period, forget about that, you know, just to give an example, or in August, no?
Summer, exactly.
You mentioned it depends on the end client. Maybe one person might be a really good fit for one client, but not for the other, right? So it's really important to also understand the project to which that person would be assigned to. Maybe it will be a difficult client, so you really need to have good soft skills, you know, even if being a developer. So I would say it's not black and white and say, okay, it will take 1 or 2 months, maybe, but it really depends on all different factors, you know. But I would say that maybe if you are really focused on the role, if your team also that would be undergoing the interview and everything, if everyone is committed to actually cover the role as soon as possible, I can imagine that it is doable to do it between 1 or 2 months.
Okay. Yeah, from my perspective, that's what we do. We're a talent company. So we have a database, and so we have so many resources that allow us to be quicker, right? Yeah. But I say that there's so many factors that come into play. For Nuvolar, for example, I understand that you're still pretty flexible on the remote. Yeah. Many companies are not. Okay. And so, for example, if you're looking for a developer, a mid-developer, a mid-functional consultant that is located in Malaga, and they have to go to the office 2 to 3 times a week, let me tell you, that's going to be way different than finding a whatever talent. I wouldn't even exclude that has a remote flexibility, because then that opens the pool and you're able to find people so many other places, right? You can find somebody that's working from another city and can work for a company in Barcelona, then great. I'd say that in my experience, depending on remote flexibility, salary bandings, which is also important. Of course. Do you need to speak English or not? How niche is the particular technology within Salesforce are you looking for? Are you looking for marketing cloud? Are you looking for field service? It really does depend. Then if you take all of this into account, you can assess how long it'll take. In our case, because we do have the database and that's what we do, it could take, finding the talent could take between 1 week and 2 weeks. And then the interview process, it really does depend on, does this hiring manager is fully interested in solving and actually hiring this person, which means they're going to be available for interviews, because that's something else. You might have the candidate and then, I'm so busy. Okay, well then it takes a little bit longer, right? And then depending on how difficult the role is, we know that we lose a lot of candidates on the
On the way.
On the way, okay.
Yeah, so that's definitely something to take into account. But from my perspective, if it's a role located in Madrid, Barcelona, or Malaga, it requires you to go to the office. It should take between the whole hiring process, including, I'd say, finding the person. We're pretty good at it. So maybe 1-2 weeks, but then hiring them and actually have them at the company, I'd say 1 month or 2 for sure.
Okay. I have a question here, because how often do you update those databases that you have? Because of course we are gaining every year at least one certification. So I like to have each year one certification. I have this goal usually, and I guess I'm not the only one. How often do you update it? Or because obviously the one that you had maybe a year ago, they might have extra, not just certification, but experience as well in different clouds?
That is a great question. I'd say, and I'd love to know your experience as well. This is what we do for a living. So we literally are calling candidates for a living, right? So I'd say that in my team, we have a particular bench of professionals that we have a really good relationship with, that we know and that we have followed up with throughout the years. And so, of course, with them, maybe my team speaks with them, I'd say once a month or once every 2 months, so we're able to update them. However, as the market keeps growing and we see more candidates, maybe many of them we have never spoken to, or we spoke to 2 years ago. So maybe we would need to update on them. And also, very important, if they are interested in a job and they know that, for example, we know them, they have to, or it's important for them to call us if they're not one of the people that we have in mind all the time, because we get a lot of, and maybe from your perspective is the same way, but we do get a lot of applications, and some of that newer talent can get lost in all of these applications that we do get.
So keep your CV updated, and then keep your recruitment agency updated as well.
Yes.
No, on our end, we do have a pipeline of candidates, because not always we have a position open, but we still can receive CVs from candidates that are interested to join us, regardless whether we have that particular role open or not. So we definitely have this pipeline. But at the same time, it's true what you're saying, that we keep in mind certain candidates that we had a chat in the past, and we are in touch, and then it's the case when you open, I don't know, a product owner, you remember, Maria, no? So you call Maria because you had a really pleasant conversation several times with her in the past. So you drop her a message, hey Maria, we have a role open. So yeah, the contacts we do have. Yeah,
it's really important. I think that network that you have and that the candidate has. I feel that candidates also need to work on their network. It's really important for them to, if you have the opportunity to apply to Nuvolar because they have an open CV policy, do it.
Yeah. How do they work on it?
On the CV.
On the CV, or how do they work on, how can you promote yourself when it comes to, well, any job, not really Salesforce? Right. What are your advices? Where would you promote yourself?
I would go maybe for LinkedIn as the primary tool. One thing is to have a profile on LinkedIn, but the other thing is to have a well-developed profile on LinkedIn, to start with, because just being there doesn't really mean that, people will find you if you will, because I would say if you have really nice developed profile on LinkedIn, maybe you will get a job without even, moving your finger, because at the end, recruiters, they are there always, 24/7. So maybe it can happen that just by having a nice CV, if you will, or profile on LinkedIn, they will do the job for you and they will reach out to you, So I would say it's really important to work with important keywords, to be able to sell you, right? Because no one really wants to read like 3-4 pages, 5 pages long CV, like you really need to summarize using proper keywords, what your functions are, what you are capable of, what your soft skills are. So just, catch the eyes of the recruiter in maybe 5 seconds.
Okay. Exactly. And there's 2 aspects of the question you just asked that I think are so important. So the first one is, how do I promote myself? And the second one is, how do I work on my CV? And I completely agree with you. You need to be up to date on the keywords. If you're a marketing cloud developer, make sure that you also, include all of the certifications in LinkedIn. I find two types of CVs sometimes. I see a CV that's way too long that there's too much fluff that you don't need to put in there.
Okay.
Or there's the CVs that say from this year to this year in a company. And then they don't give me any more experience. And I'm like, how am I going to be able to see if you're actually the candidate that I need for the job? If you don't have the information, you need a few bullet points that are going to be clear, concise, that are going to allow me to see what tools you've worked with, what languages you're coding in, what clouds you're working with, sales, service.
All the certifications.
Exactly.
As well. Okay.
So that's really important to include all of that, both in the CV and in LinkedIn, to make sure that we're able to find you. And then when it comes to promoting yourself, I do think that LinkedIn is a great place. And I'd love to hear your opinion, because I know that you do a great job at that. I do see that there's some people that really we identify in the Salesforce community.
Yeah.
Of course, you're one of them. Then we have, for example, Sara in Madrid. There's the Salesforce VPs.
MVPs. Salesforce MVPs, exactly.
The Salesforce MVPs that you recognize and Andy, how do you go about it? How do you make sure that you're promoting yourself? Not only, I don't think it's for yourself, which I'm sure it is, but also it helps so many people to relate with you and what you can do. Or for example, both you and Sara, they have a blog. You are a woman. So I think that's really important. How do you go about it?
Indeed, it is important. So when we have the Trailblazer community where we welcome everyone, and then that's what I was asking you, certifications versus a bit of an experience, because when you start off your career, you don't know what you expected. And all these communities, or being having a nice CV, being on LinkedIn, perhaps writing articles. I see a lot of people getting into this, and I do have my own blog and I do write articles. And I think these things as well, they will draw the attention of companies or recruitment agencies.
Right.
And having good contacts. So when we had a course with Salesforce, I was recommending a lot, please add people to your
LinkedIn.
Your LinkedIn, exactly, because it's important. Even if you don't know them, some connection will be able to help you get that job that you've been looking for. So I think all these little tips and tricks, they do help. But I wanted to know as well from your perspective, because it's important to keep alive and to keep up to date all your CVs. Yeah.
But when talking about LinkedIn, maybe what I would add, you have to do it smart. Because when we are talking about trends, I don't know whether you share the same. Well, I imagine that you spend the majority of your time on LinkedIn. That if there is any trend, then it would be about LinkedIn. That I believe that it's no longer, to be honest, in some occasions, really used for professional environment. It's changing, you know. So if you are, let's say, spamming too much, you know, and you have plenty of people, you know, following you, they may still follow you because, you know, it's too much. So I believe like it's not only to get noticed by your network, but I believe to do it smart.
Yes.
It's really important.
That's a great point. Also, like, it's great. LinkedIn is a professional network place. So there's some people that I see that are sharing their ideas, and it's great, but what is your brand and what are you trying to achieve? And how do you want people to perceive you? And then go ahead and post what you need to post or use it, but take that into account, because it is a place where we all have access to. You can all look at LinkedIn, and the trail is going to stay there. So please think about your brand. What do you want to achieve with this platform, and make sure that you're coherent on that messaging, I'd say.
Let's go back a little bit to remote work, okay? Because we touched that, and I think it's, again, a very, very hot topic, because many companies are actually calling back their talent. What do you guys see? What do you think of this? Whether if you have a talent that is interested in a job, but they have to go to the office 3 times a week, would they accept that offer, or would they stay in their current job?
Yeah, I agree that it's a hot topic. I would say being a candidate, obviously, or an employee, once you touch the possibility to work from home, it's really nice to have. Or it's nice to have that sooner or later it becomes a reality. So if someone wants to take it from you, you don't do that, you know? On the other side, the tendency that obviously after COVID, all companies at the end went online or, you know, like remote, if you will. So it was completely understandable. And then indeed, some of the big companies, big sharks, started to pull people back to the office, which I understand as well. Because obviously, if you are sitting in your living room, And there might be some big companies that their base is about that you go to the campus full of super nice things to have. I imagine that they pay like fortune to have this. And if you as their employee are sitting in on sofa, at home, what's the point, right? Because they need you to be there. They need you to be part of the community, culture, the culture. And all this is kind of losing if you are working from your home. So I do understand these big companies, right? For this purpose, if you will. But still, being a candidate, being an employee, I would invite companies that if there is no difference for you to work in the office or from home, let people to choose, because you don't know what their personal life is. You don't know, whether they have to commute maybe 2 hours to get to the office. You might be affecting quite significantly their personal life, their work-life balance. So I would say, like, if you can do it as a company, I would do, because I mean, if someone doesn't want to work properly, they will not work either, whether being in the office or whether being, at home,
Yeah, that's a great point. I do see this is actually a trend that we hadn't spoken about. So it depends also on the sector of the company, I'd say.
Okay.
So for example, end users, as you were saying, big companies that have this amazing infrastructure, they are bringing in I see that their employees are coming back, and there's more of a hybrid work policy. That's what I'm seeing. So they're trying, or they're actually aiming for 2 days at the office or 3 days at the office and then 2 days remote, which I think that has pros and has cons as everything.
Okay.
I do believe that when people are at the office, it's really important to be intentional. So we are at the office, and why are we at the office? Are we meeting, and are we organizing certain activities, that being workshops, that being meetings that are going to allow us to move forward and advance whatever it is that we are advancing? I think that's great. For an end user also, if you are trying to really reinstate culture or make sure that you are, again, maybe you're in the first phase of an implementation of a project, whatever, that makes sense. So I do see that a lot of these big companies, smaller companies, but that are end users or in different sectors, that's what they do. And then partners and consultancies, they allow a lot more flexibility. They allow a lot more of remote work. And that also makes a lot of sense, considering that from my experience, when you are in a partner or consultancy, it's very dynamic, it's very fast paced. There's a lot of things going on, boom, boom, boom. So it's really great also to have that flexibility to, okay, if I don't have to commute, I'm able to sleep better, go to the gym, take care of myself as well. So it's really, I do see how it is a benefit to have remote. And I do see how in certain instances it's important to be together.
But at the same time, I believe even if you have remote policy, you can still have people coming to the office, like if there is, as you said, if there is a purpose, and we do it quite often at Nuvolar, we have a lot of events, etc. So people are coming even from different countries to meet each other, etc. So I don't think so that you have to go no matter what for only remote and not to see your colleagues, never, because I believe that it can affect negatively your company, or other way around. I believe that you can still implement like in-person meetings. As you say, sometimes it's way easier just to, get together, decide certain things rather than connecting, losing the connection, and so on and so on and so on. So it's better to, and some topics are better to handle, face to face. So I believe that still you can do it, even if having full remote policy, you can still,
that's very interesting.
Do occasion meetings, in-person events.
It depends on the company's culture, right?
Absolutely,
As well. Like when you're remote, I heard different stories. But when it comes to more to you, Diana, because you have more experience probably than us, we are fully remote. But when it comes to, there's a great job with a great salary, but there is a but, you have to go to the office and you have 10 candidates out of 10. I'm just asking you, how many people would say no to this particular job because they just prefer to stay home? If you have
That's actually a really great question. And I'd say that when a candidate is moving jobs, there's a few factors that affect them. So remote is definitely one of them. Salary is definitely one of them. They need to be engaged with the project. They need to also like the company that are going to they're going to join. Then of course, if for example, the sector is in the direction where they're pursuing their career, they have to make compromises. That's what I find. That compromises, or you need to choose. What is it that you're going to go for? Are you going to prioritize salary over remote? That happens a lot. Maybe a candidate that is moving back to their town where they were born, and they don't want to be in the big cities anymore. Well, they know that they have to compromise, and then maybe they have to be a bit more flexible on the salary because they're going to gain remote. Or the other way around. Oh, I'm going to be able to have access to a higher salary with a company that I really like. Okay, I have to compromise, and then I'm going to lose the remote. So it really does depend. It's very, when you're changing jobs, which is a huge decision in your life, you have to assess so many things that are going to affect you. I think that changing jobs is probably one of the most important decisions that you do across your during your life. Like you're changing, and it's a completely different environment. It's a risk, it's a reward. There's so many things that are involved. So you do want to make sure that you put value to the different things that are important to you. So does remote work affect many candidates? Absolutely. And it definitely nudges them in one direction or the other.
Okay.
I've actually found something really interesting, which is the opposite. I also have candidates that are like, oh, I miss going to the office so much.
I think the younger generation, they do. But I think when I was in my 20s, I loved to be with other people as well. And I love the vibe going out.
Work.
Absolutely. That's a very important thing.
Exactly. Especially when you don't have the choice. Like when you can go to the office and it's more so, it's just a policy and you can go or you cannot go. But when you do not have the choice and say you are isolated, I don't want to say isolated, but you're away from the team and you never get the opportunity to go to the office and you're always alone in your house or in a co-working, then you might feel a little bit alone, and it's already difficult to interact in this day and age where social media, that. It's nice also to feel the closeness of being with other people that you work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to how companies can prevent people not leaving. How can they have this retention rate low? When it comes to like Salesforce, let's just go back to Salesforce only for the moment.
Maybe to start with, I have been thinking lately about the word retention. And I decided that I don't like that. You know why? Because the retention is like you are trying to hold your,
back.
Which is, it shouldn't be the case because you should want to stay voluntarily in the company without anyone trying all different things. Please do not go, do not listen to other offers. Do not listen to other recruiters reaching out. So maybe the retention should be replaced by, I don't know what term, but retention for me, when you say it, it's like you are holding me here, like for years and ages, just for me not to go somewhere else to start with. But I would say that it's quite simple. Like maybe back in the past, when we were going to the office every day, there were different things that maybe company were doing to make your working life like a pleasant experience. Maybe it was a fresh fruit on Friday, which nowadays I believe no one cares any longer about apples and bananas in the office. That's
a nice perk 5 years ago.
Back then. But you see that there are trends now. So maybe nowadays, what we were talking about, remote work, right? It has a lot of importance for candidates. So I believe that the core to make employees' life, a pleasant experience, it's to do many things based on the culture, give a lot of flexibility, give a lot of autonomy, have this person like feel that by the end of the day, you are not thinking of, oh my gosh, tomorrow I have to come back again, So overall, and we can talk about all different initiatives that you should do as an employer, but overall, to make a life of that employee as a pleasant experience, that this person wants to come back next day on Sunday, that you are not depressed because it's Monday tomorrow again, but that it's like cool, like tomorrow we will face, I have to do this and I have to connect with Andy, we have to work on this. So basically that your overall experience while being in the company, it's a pleasant one. So even if someone from another company, and it happens in our sector, you are being contacted always, right?
Always,
so that it doesn't even matter. Even if they come and you may say, sure, let's have a call just to see what's on the market, but I will not leave because, I don't want to lose what I have because it feels good, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting what you're saying because I was at the event a couple of days ago and I met a company and then I asked the CEO, what is your company culture? And he looked at me and he was like, sorry? And I said, what do you give to your people? What are your principles? What are your values? And then he was like, okay. And he started telling me things. I'm not going to go into details, but it's super interesting. When you are hiring someone, during the first call, second call, do you tell them, do people ask, what is the company culture? Is it something that people ask?
That's a great question.
I would ask if I would be changing jobs. Hey, what is the company culture? Not only how much I make. Yeah.
What does the company stand for?
Exactly.
When I have a call with a candidate or with anybody from my team has a call, that's something that we already know. And it's something that comes up in the conversation because, as I was saying before, how can you change to another company if they don't know what they stand for? For me, it'd be, I really need to know. The project is great that I need to know what the project's about. All of these things are great. They're important, the basics. But in terms of culture and what the company stands for, absolutely, because I'm going to spend 8 hours of my day at this company. So how is my experience going to look like? What do they stand for? What are they about? How do we work as a team? That's hugely important. And then in terms of continuity of people really staying at one company for a longer period of time, because we know that there's a lot of changing too.
Of course, and career progress as well. Do they offer that? Yeah.
Exactly. I'd say that when somebody is growing at a place, then they're more willing. I was just thinking about what you just said. They're willing to stay there. No, that's not the right.
They keep them there.
They are willing to stay at the company. No, that's not how I want to phrase that. I would say
they are happy to stay.
They're happy. They're happy. They feel fulfilled from a professional perspective. They feel fulfilled. They keep growing. They're learning new things. That I think that is something that really, it helps me stay where I'm at. It helps other people also understand that there's value in staying where they're at. I'd say that, we find a better word.
And when you look at the CV of a person who is looking for a job, and it's always coming up again when I'm in any of these events of when you keep jumping jobs. What do you think, guys, about that? That's a very difficult topic really to cover, and we all have different opinions, but it does come up when you are not happy in a certain company, but then you go to the second one and you still don't fit in. What do you think of that? Would you hire that person? Would you give it a chance?
I mean, there might be hundreds of reasons behind. So absolutely, when we see this CV, obviously it rings the alarm, no? So, and that might be one of the, I'm not saying the first question, but maybe the second one that you would ask, okay, give me clear explanation, on all your career, what happened from the very beginning until the end. And you want to know the reasons because one of the explanation for this question we give, and it's true, that if we hire someone, it's kind of investment on both ends. And you don't want to just bring someone for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We rather not to, let's say, bring that person on board. So if we are bringing you on board, we want to avoid any kind of surprises afterwards. So let's be honest, let's be transparent, and you can tell me honestly, I didn't like that company because, I don't know, my manager, X, Y, Z, and it's a valid reason. Then obviously, while going more into the detail and during the conversation, you will detect really fast whether that person might be a problematic person and maybe that might be the real reason of jumping jobs, So just by having a transparent conversation, I believe that if you are, and you know the best, if you are having plenty of the calls every day, you detect just by the way how that person responds, how that person, what words that person is using, whether they let you speak or not. So you have so many details, hidden details that, whether this jumping job, it's for a reason, valid reason, or if there might be something that you may watch out.
I agree. And I think that when you are jumping, I don't want to say, when you're changing so often, are you really giving yourself the opportunity to adapt to that company and then give back? It's true. When a company is hiring somebody, you're investing in that person. So that onboarding period, it takes some time. And the more senior you are, the more time it takes for you to actually start adding value to that company.
Okay.
So it is important to, okay, I understand that there's many reasons and companies are not perfect, but what about resiliency as well? And understanding,
course,
okay,
exactly. Yeah.
let's actually stay here for a little while. Let's be able to actually assess. Okay, no, this isn't the right place for me. Think about it. Your onboarding, it takes at least 3 to 6 months in many places.
Like Marketa, you were mentioning, that's an investment for the company, indeed,
Yes.
and a huge one.
A huge one. Onboarding takes some time. Then after you're done with the onboarding, now you're going to start adding value. So imagine, for example, let's just say that for not a very senior profile, somebody that's starting. The 3 first months of you being in a job, you're learning.
Yeah.
You are not contributing just yet. You are learning. And when the 4th month hit, hopefully you're going to be able to start adding value. But that's a long time is at least 3 months, and in many cases 6 months before you actually start adding value.
Yeah.
So give yourself the opportunity first to give back to this company that hired you, and also to give yourself the opportunity to learn the job, start adding value yourself, make sure that you also learn, okay, I'm going to make mistakes here, because the first months you are going to make mistakes. You're going to learn. Allow yourself the time to learn and then actually contribute. And okay, after a year, at least if you do see, okay, whatever reason, then fine, move on to the next one. But it is something that I look at.
But you know what, I believe that the human being nowadays, if we are talking about again about trends, it's like we want things tomorrow, you know, or maybe now.
Yeah.
So being patient and I do see this quite often when and I'm not offending anyone, but when we are interviewing junior profile, they want, you know, immediate, you know, you know, I want to contribute tomorrow, you know, like, or any other candidate. So that's really important also to bring this up, you know, with the candidate, and to be honest, you know, like do not expect that you will have your hands on immediately on an exciting project, because maybe you will have to contribute with little tasks. Maybe there will be a little bit boring, a little bit routine, you know. Do not sell, even like from the company side, do not sell something that it's not, you know, like give it as it is and let the candidate choose whether they want to join or not. But at the same time, and that's what we do during the interview process, it's like, if you commit, you know. Do not come back to us in as you say, like in 3, 4 or 5 months saying, this is not what I expected, because we told you exactly how it would be, and we do expect engagement from your end as well, you know. But to be patient, you know, so as well. Important.
That's a good point. And how transparent companies are when it comes to job roles. Because often as well, what I see and in LinkedIn, there are roles, developer role, but they expect you to do this and that and that. And they expect you to do 3 roles in one job. In 8 hours, you have to be a developer, a product owner, a project manager, all together. And sometimes you know, that's a lot. That's a lot. And it happens that, do you find that companies are not transparent, or maybe they just try to save cost, or maybe the roles are changing? I don't know. What is your opinion about that?
I believe that's good luck to these companies, because I believe that it's not a good start, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised that, you know, if someone is asking you to perform 3 roles at the same time and not even maybe giving you a proper compensation for 3 roles at the same time.
Great point.
Then I wouldn't be surprised that in such companies, you know, people would be just entering and leaving, you know. So I don't think so. It's a good approach, because you have to, you know, turn over. But not only that, but you have to reopen the role every single time, you know, and maybe you are looking for years for that person to fit the role. So I believe to be transparent and not to oversell the roles. And to have a proper job description with all the transparency, it's like the starting point that you have to follow as a company, because otherwise you are getting into the trouble and it will backfire sooner or later.
I agree 1000%.
Do you push back, Diana, when you see a job description, they hand it to you, they send you via email? Do you push back and tell them that there are too many things, you're asking too much, and maybe the salary? Do you do that, guys?
Absolutely.
I never asked this question, but I find
absolutely.
It's
so important to manage expectations, which is just what you were saying. And I do think that the people that you hire is going to have a direct impact on your success as a company. And if that is the case, really invest in the person that is going to be right for you long term. Or else, yes, it's going to affect the immediate need that you don't find that person that you need to stay for a long time. But more so, it really is going to affect your ability to advance your company, whatever you're going. So my advice, and when I work with a company, it's so important to sit down and really understand, okay, what is it that this person needs to accomplish? What is it that this person's going to do on their day-to-day? How is their week going to look like? Give me a week. How is a week going to look like?
That's a valid question. That's a really good one.
Mr. Developer or Mr. whatever. How is it going to look like? Who are they going to be interacting? What is the team that they're going to be interacting? And then that's when truth comes out. Oh no, this person doesn't have a team. Oh, and they're a developer. Yeah, but we just need a junior developer. They don't have a team, and they're going to be they're going to be doing all of these things. That's something that definitely comes up, and it's great also to have really honest and transparent conversations with the person that's hiring and really help them manage those expectations. Okay, so you're looking 3 roles in one person.
Okay.
You're not going to find them, and then also you're going to be losing on a lot of benefits of maybe hiring 2 people. That's actually what the role requires. So yes, we do push back. We make sure that when long-term is the goal, when we are looking for continuity and we're looking for actually longevity in a business, let's assess, is this actually the role that we need? Do we need 1 person? Do we need 2 people? And then let's go ahead and actually find them or this person.
Very important indeed. Okay, great. Let's talk a little bit about AI, huh? Ooh. How about AI? It's always the trending hot topic as well. How AI changed the recruitment landscape. What do you think?
I would say that AI affects everything, recruitment or even our personal life, everything that we see, that we do. But in particular, recruitment, I would say that similarly what we were talking before, that maybe it's no longer technical or functional profile. So that might be more hybrid. Now with the AI in the game, I believe that AI, for sure, it's a good tool, but as long as you use it in a proper way. Right? So I would say that nowadays, if you have no experience with AI, you better start diving into the topic 100%. To start with. But at the same time, I don't think so that AI will completely replace the human being, because the critical thinking, the creativity, decision making, etc. It's important. So I believe that before we were talking about soft skills, etc., soft skills nowadays will be even more important.
Yes.
So you have a good combo with a nice AI tool, but with the right person to use that. So I believe that now the soft skills and the capability to use the AI in a proper way will be a kind of must to have. Like similarly, if English nowadays it's a must to have. This might be the next one.
Exactly. No, that's a great point. I think that AI amplifies what you're able to do. So I think about my day to day, and so many mundane tasks that used to take me a really long time now are taking me half the time, and I see how I'm able to do. And I'm able to accomplish many maybe goals or even projects that I had set for a certain period of time. Now I can do it way in less time. And it's great. And it's very useful. And we live at a time where I like to think that I'm creative, but sometimes the execution, then AI suddenly really helps you out and it opens a world of possibilities. So when it comes to profiles and candidates and how this is actually affecting them, I could not agree more. You need to be able to add more value. You need to be able to communicate and actually use AI to help companies, to develop, to architect, to whatever it is that you're doing. You need to be able to use it in addition to your soft skills.
So do they actually already asking you to have these skills, those companies that you're helping at the moment? Yeah.
You mean, for example, certification?
Certification, for example. Yeah, there are a couple of them for Salesforce, but any AI certification, not just only related to Salesforce. Do they tell you, I want a candidate who has this or has at least an experience with AI?
What I notice is they're not asking for the certifications yet. However, I do see a shift, a really big shift on focusing on data skills, right?
Okay.
What do I mean by this? So Data Cloud, it's absolutely amazing, so great. But also, for example, I see a lot of candidates that come from a background where they really understand how data works from a technical perspective, and they are doing really, really well. And so from an engineering perspective and Salesforce, but also in other technologies, data is definitely, it's a big focus I see. Now, certifications, I don't see, of course, so nice to have a Data Cloud certification, but it's really new as well. And so it's hard to keep up.
But that's good to know. Data Cloud is trending. I see that as well with our clients. They do need that. Yeah.
It's trending for sure. I noticed that it's always nice to have the certification, but I don't see any client of mine that's asking, this is a must.
Okay.
No.
Not yet, at least.
Yet, maybe.
Because I wanted to ask you, girls, if you can take out your little crystal ball and then let's anticipate what's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years. Where do you see recruitment going? What do you think will happen with AI or not AI altogether? I know it's a difficult question. It is a difficult one.
That's an interesting question.
I believe that all the roles will definitely require a little bit of switch, because I'm sure that in all roles and in whatever sector will require the capacity the same way as years ago you had to start working with the computer. So nowadays I imagine, or here in few years, from now onwards, it will be a must to even people that they have been working on a particular job, maybe with just computer, they will have to adapt to the AI. But maybe, it will also require what I just said, that as you said, it's nice extension, it's a nice tool, but it will require from all of us to adapt, to learn, to switch a little bit the mindset, to learn how to use it, because many times also I see that people use it in not a proper way. Also, that you are just taking the outcome and place it without actually thinking, because not always the AI tools give you the 100%, correct answer or outcome. So I believe that everyone will be pushed to actually adjust and to learn how to use it in a proper way. And for sure, the roles themselves will change. Maybe some of the automatic tasks will be done by AI, but then maybe there will be new roles. Popping up.
Maybe less QA because there will be machine learning doing it, and maybe more communication roles.
For instance,
perhaps. Okay.
That's actually, I agree with you quite a bit. I think that we are, this is going to sound funny, but we're people, and now that we're competing with people before. Now we are competing with people that know how to use AI. So it is each of our responsibilities to learn how to use AI, because it's a free tool that is actually available for everyone. So if you want to level up, it's not that only certain people have access to this. We all have access to artificial intelligence. So I've taken it as a responsibility of mine to really learn how am I going to implement and use artificial intelligence properly to help me advance and make sure that I'm leveled up with the person next to me that's also using AI. So that is a huge learn for me. I know that there are few people that are a little reticent towards AI. It's here and it's not going to go anywhere. So please learn to use it. Learn how it's going to be able, because what I love about AI too is that it helps so much with the mundane tasks that are maybe very tedious, and then they can be automated. And it's great to have this agent or this artificial intelligence that's going to be able to just do it for you. So many things that are very tedious, scheduling interviews, looking at so many things that at the end of the day, this machine, artificial intelligence, copilot, whatever you want to agent, whatever you want to call it, they're helping you automate those mundane tasks, and you can focus on other projects that you might have. Really use your creativity. All that time that you were using to do these mundane tasks or there's this tedious tasks, you can use in something and invest that time in something else. So I think that that's really encouraging.
Or even writing your CV, Especially for you guys, when you go and look at the CV and then you look at the job description, I think it helps a lot. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I would like to see when there is a job description how artificial intelligence would change my skills to be compatible with this job or to be like a top candidate. No, I don't know if have you seen anything like this, by the way? Yeah.
But at the same
I have to try it still, but hey.
At the same time, I would say we have to really, and maybe there will be a new job popping up on the market, which would be like more cybersecurity roles and stuff, because, also we have to use it properly, and not like putting anything, into the ChatGPT, etc., because it can backfire, So maybe when you were asking what will happen in 3 years, maybe, we better go and study, cybersecurity, role, because it will be a hot role by then. So yeah, I believe that we have to watch out.
You bring such a good topic, because some of the things that I'm seeing is that somebody has a CV and wants to improve it. And so they put it on ChatGPT with the job description. And suddenly you have this amazing CV and you call the person and, so what is your experience with something particular? Yeah. And they're like, I don't have that experience. And I'm like, but I have your CV. Let me read it. And you can see, they're like, Oh
my God. So that happens. Yes. Yeah, it happens with ChatGPT. If you don't read through what it gives you back, indeed, right? It can have. That's surprising. That's a great example. And it happens. Wow.
ChatGPT or whatever is a tool that you're using, they're really smart. And so they're like, okay, perfect. This is the job description and this is the CV. Let me make them absolutely perfect for this job. And suddenly you look at the description and that's not you. Yeah. That is not your experience and you're selling yourself for something that you are not. Has that happened to you?
Wow. Yes, I mean, I would say quite often we see some CVs that are not corresponding to the reality, and which I believe you being a candidate, you are not making yourself a favor, because you would be rejected from the very beginning. And maybe if you place your real CV, maybe even you would be accepted. Yeah. Being honest, maybe yes, you wouldn't check all the checklist of the requirements, but if you are lying from the very beginning, it's like a no-go. And you are basically losing the opportunity.
It's not ChatGPT who is lying instead of you. It's the one who wrote your CV. Yeah.
And I have a really good tip for that for anyone that's watching. Make sure that when you give the prompt to whatever artificial intelligence you're using, true to experience. That is one of the best things that I have used. So
use that prompt basically.
Or ask for example, let's say that I have my CV and I want to improve it, and I ask the artificial intelligence to please improve my CV. Here's the job description. Yeah. Be very clear with the artificial intelligence and say, improve my CV and stay true to experience. True to my experience.
That's a really good tip then for everyone.
Exactly. And after you see the CV that it generates for you, ask it, is this true to my experience?
Or at least read through the CV, before you send it.
For a good start.
That's the most
great tip. Yeah. But once you do receive it, you can also ask it, is this true to my experience? Yeah. Yes, it is, because, and it gives you the justification. On this, it is very true, blah, 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 and in this too. And so you can evaluate and use the artificial intelligence as well and read what it has generated for you.
Super. Thank you very much. It was an amazing topic, I think, that we went through today. And I think my idea is to get you back in 2 years and we talk about it again, and let's see how those CVs are developing, how the job market is developing. But thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
We learned a lot. Thank you.